last. I was thinking of first. Okay, then I'll start with Andrea.
Publisher Huri Nurani runs the Karachi publishing house Maktaba Danial, which she inherited from her late father Malik Nurani. Her love for literature and linguistics led her towards a master's degree in philology from the People's Friendship University in Moscow. Maktaba Danial has published renowned authors like Mushtaq Ahmad Yusfi, Sayyid Sibte Hassan, Faiz Ahmad Faiz, Iftikhar Arif, Fehmida Riaz, and many others. Ms. Nurani has translated Heinrich Borowick's famous play, Interview in Buenos Aires, from Russian into Urdu. She is also a trained classical dancer. The session is yours now, ma'am. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our session on how publishers bring out the best. I'll start with a brief introduction of my co-panelists. Andrea Berini is an Italian author published in Italy and abroad. He is also the founder and CEO of Metropole de Asia, a publishing house focused on Asian contemporary literature and fiction. MDA translates into Italian and publishes authors from South Asia, Southeast Asia, and the Far East. He has spent a major part of his time in these countries since 2007, directly scouting and discovering new, younger talent. His new book on Asian writing is under publication in Italy. Afzal Ahmed. Afzal Ahmed is the CEO of Sangemil Publications, one of Pakistan's leading publishing houses. After graduating from Government College Lahore in the 80s, he joined the world of publishing and has worked relentlessly since then to promote South Asian literature, both in English and in Urdu. Under his leadership, Sangemil has published numerous literary gems ranging from historical accounts of the War of 1857 and political diaries from British India to contemporary works in fiction, philosophy, politics, psychology, travel, science, and arts, along with epics such as Tilisme Hoshruba and Fasana-e-Azad. He has been invited as a speaker to the Foundation of SARC Writers and Literature Conference in 2013 and to Osaka University, Japan, for the promotion of Urdu literature in 2010. Amina Syed is the Managing Director of Oxford University Press, Pakistan, Director and co-founder of the Karachi and Islamabad Literature Festivals, and co-director and co-founder of both the Children's and the Teachers Literature Festivals. She is the first woman to be appointed head of a multinational in Pakistan, the first woman to be elected president of the 150-year-old Overseas Investors Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and the first Pakistani woman to be awarded the OBE by the Queen of England. The OBE was awarded in recognition of her services to women's rights, education, intellectual property rights, and Anglo-Pakistan relations. The government of France awarded her knighthood for her contribution to arts and literature. So that was a brief introduction to our panelists. And now the topic. So how do publishers bring out the best? And bring out the best in what? It's really a wide open topic. Bring out the best in authors, bring out the best in books, bring out the best in publishing standards, in marketing standards. So that's what we'll talk about with all our panelists today. And we will start with Andrea. Andrea, it was very interesting reading about your publishing house and also about how you travel so much to South Asia and Southeast Asia and you're scouting for new talent. So how does that work out? How does scouting for new talent in these areas, how is it relevant to the European markets? Could you?
Yes. Better than saying that I'm traveling, I have to say that I lived, yeah. I was based in some countries, okay. In South and Southeast and Far East Asia. I recently left my house in Beijing, where I've been living for 2.5 years. And I was before in Singapore for some times and before in Bombay. And in fact, it was in Bombay that everything started. As you told the audience, quoting my biography, I am an author, I am a writer, and I consider myself a writer. And it is under this point of view that I became interested in what was happening in, let's say, New Asia. 10 years ago, we had the first signals that the world was changing, that in those far countries that our readers were used to consider the countries were exotic. Writers used to write family sagas and stories centered in rural areas, in ancient traditions, are now also something else, are now big countries becoming superpower also under a cultural point of view. There is no more the gap that there was once between the Western countries and those countries. We have to relate and to be at the same level. I have an occasion. I was lucky. I have a different job, and the different job took me to Bombay, and there I discovered. By meeting friends of friends, and by entering bookshops, that at that time, it was 10 years ago, of course, there were so many writers that were not known in Europe. Just to give you an example, when I started meeting Bombay friends, hello? Yes. When I started meeting Bombay friends, I used to ask, what is in your opinion the book, or which are the book that are able to tell Italian readers what is Bombay now? One of the name was Kiran Nagarkar, and my publishing house translated and published Kiran Nagarkar in Italy, and we were the first one, and it was astonishing to know that up to that time nobody in Italy, there was, I think, just a German translation by a small publisher, and I have to be honest, it was not my intention originally to build up a publishing house. Under the point of view of an author, I was thinking maybe to an anthology of Bombay writers. I was thinking, okay, and then I will try and visit different cities, Delhi, Shanghai, Singapore, Hong Kong, and maybe do the same. But soon I realized that the potential, the cultural potential, the literary potential of this continent, of the new, younger writers in big cities in this continent is very high. And the potential, in my opinion, this potential is due by the fact that we, me living in Milan, you living in Karachi, are now more and more similar from what we were maybe 30 or 40 years ago. When I talk, when I speak with my friends in Beijing, and my friends maybe are 40, 50, 60 years old, I speak with intellectuals who has a worldwide resonance, and they tell me, yes, I am this kind of person now. My family was not. I have been born in rural areas. My mother have to sell. Yes. They used to sell me such stories. My mother was selling our eggs so to buy books for us to go to school. So the change that has been coming in this continent is really great. And it's interesting for us to see someone else coming rooted in different cultures, in different traditions, having different religions, but living now a life which is similar to us. And this is the reason why I think there is now an increasing interest by the Italian readers towards young works, young fiction from this continent. And I am happy for this invitation. I am happy to have now the occasion to open a new file, and it is Pakistan.
Great, thank you. I shall come back to you, Afzal Saab. Sangamil, of course, everyone knows, it's one of the leading publishing houses, and you have published books in both English and Urdu, and you have a great list of eminent writers. So could you, I would like you to talk a little bit about how you build up that list. Another aspect is there's a lot of self-publications over here. Many authors, new authors especially, come up to us and ask us that they will fund, and they will, they want to use the name, because of course Sangamil is a known name. So talk a little about that, and about what changes the new trends in publishing and in marketing trends, or how that has affected your publishing house, and how,
Publishing is a very interesting field, and I enjoyed it a lot, and enjoy it for my passion also. My father started this Sangamil in 1962, and I joined in 1980. But I think being a publisher it's a bridge between authors and the readers, and we should pursue and encourage and try to find new writers, new writings for the people to read, because with reading books, the people of any country can change their mentality, their attitude, their lifestyle, and we don't like the writers who say that we want to fund our books. Initially we discourage them that you should first go to the journals and get your things published in newspapers, and when you build a readership, then you should go, and then publisher should definitely will come to you. You shouldn't be, sponsoring your books or funding your books. And at Sangamil, we try to, build a list of writers which attracts the readers. We make different marketing strategies for the people should know that these kind of books are coming out. And when publisher is satisfied in his mind that what he is publishing is a good piece of literature, then definitely you have a good readership, you have a good market, and the reader, day by day, they come to know that from this publishing house we are getting good books, and we are not wasting our money. Whatever books they will publish by the Sangamil or whichever publisher who is, spending some time on the manuscripts and getting it done by the professionals, and understand what is actually in the writing and what he is giving to the readers, then you get a good share in the market. And I think the publishers are actually the main factor behind the intellect of any country. In Pakistan, unfortunately, the publishers are not getting that, place. Those countries which are doing good in the world, they are giving very good place to the publishers, because publishers is a kind of a bank or a fort for the knowledge of for that country, for the people of that country. We are trying our best at Sange Meal that we should serve the writers and the readers and the knowledge base of our country. And we at Sange Meal Publication, all of us at Sange Meal Publication, my son is also have joined me, my nephew is doing work at Sange Meal. We all very enjoy, all the time enjoy working at Sange Meal Publications, and it's really, we think that we should be doing more to bring out more and more books, because once the e-book books. Not from your computer, so it gives a different taste to your reading habits also. So, as a whole, I say that we are very satisfied in publishing books, and I think we should be all the time trying to give more and more books to our Pakistani and international readers who are interested in Pakistani readings, Pakistani literature. And day by day we are getting a big list of publications, and it's sometimes I think it's out of control now. But last time when I came here at KLF, I thought by seeing the atmosphere here that we should be publishing more and more books, and whoever comes to us for getting his book published, we should be able to say no to anybody. We don't say no to anybody, we should be saying yes to all the writers from Pakistan. That's my dream, that one day I make an office at Sange Meal that any writer from anywhere in Pakistan, if he comes to Sange Meal will publish his or our book. That is my dream. I'm very, very happy to, last year I was here, this year, what these literature festivals are doing to the Pakistani youngster, readers, writers. It's a great service, and I am very thankful for that.
Afzal, you spoke about web publishing. Is Sange Meal doing any web publishing? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, we have started web publishing, but the results are not very good. So yeah, I can say the poor results, and because it's actually the cost of the web publishing or e-publishing is more than the physical publishing of a book. So in Pakistan, or the Pakistani literature is not a huge market outside Pakistan. So maybe someday it's kind of a side-by-side business of by physical publishing and web publishing. But physical publishing is still a big business, and I think it's a big kind of market for us for the time being.
Thank you. So now we come to Amina. And of course, everyone knows that's Oxford University Press in Pakistan. Amina, I know that you have experience of running your own publishing house as well. It's really interesting how the dynamics of both work. How different is it to work for Oxford from what your experience was of running your own publishing house? And if you
Thank you, Puri. Actually, the difference was, there is a difference, and I think the main difference was that when I was running my own publishing house, I didn't have the funds to really publish seriously, which is one of the reasons why I joined Oxford University Press, because then I could really go all out to publish whatever I wanted to, because I was suddenly given a lot of resources. And just to give you an idea, in those days I was very interested in publishing a science course for school children, because they were all using books from Singapore and Hong Kong, and they were learning about the flora and fauna of those countries, and I wanted them to learn about about the local environment. And so I looked around, I really looked around in Pakistan for writers. I could not find somebody I felt who could publish the kind of book I had in mind. So I got a British author. And because I had the funds, I said, come to Pakistan. He came to Pakistan, and I took him to schools and just took him around, and he wrote a wonderful book, a wonderful series of books. But then how to get them illustrated? I could not find book illustrators, book designers in Pakistan. This is, I'm talking about the early 90s. I mean, there are a lot of designers, but they do more commercial, advertising and ads and things. So again, I looked to the UK, and I really got one of the top designers from there. And he asked an exorbitant fee. And he said, well, I'll come and that will be my fee, and I had to stay in a 5-star hotel for 2 months. I said, no problem, come and do it, because I had the resources. And he came, but then I really, I took full use of him. Not only did I ask him to design our books, I said, please illustrate them. He said, I'm not an illustrator. I said, okay, doesn't matter. Train our illustrators. So actually he ended up running a class in our office. He was training illustrators, designers, while he was designing books. So it was all, on-the-job training. So I think that was the difference. But of course, in Oxford University Press, there are constraints which I wouldn't have had. For example, I want to publish Pakistani fiction. We have such wonderful writers, and we can't, because it is against OUP policy to publish contemporary fiction, unless it is fiction that is used in schools or universities or colleges as a literary text. So, that was, so on my own, I think I would have gone to town publishing because there is such a wonderful outpouring of high quality texts, literary texts that are coming out. So that, I think that was the difference. I don't think I have any regrets, because I was able to do much more. On my own, I would have been continued as a small-time publisher. But I do want to say that publishing in Pakistan is very different from publishing in the developed world. It's a completely different ball game here. And if I get a chance later, I'll talk about that.
Coming back to Andrea, I wanted to ask you, you were talking about the world becoming a smaller place, and so we were talking about authors and about you being an author. Now what about your publishing and publishers? How does the synergy between publishers work out in the East and the West? What is your experience as a publisher?
You mean the difference in which publisher work?
Yes. The difficulties that come up. Like Amina was saying that we face a lot of difficulties here. Especially.
Each country is completely different from the other.
Absolutely.
India has many publishers, so many publishers, and two kind of publishers. Let's say the publisher coming from the West, as it is for Oxford University Press. Then we have Hachette from France, HarperCollins, Random House, Penguin Random House, and so on. And they are able to interact with what have been the new literary scene in English in India. Then there was a big number, a huge number of small independent publishers, maybe locally based, publishing in the different 22 or 24 languages in India. We tried to interact with both these publishers. We translated from English. We are now translating from Bengali, and as far as I understand, the local are experiencing some difficulties a little bit in the last few years. As in India, in Southeast Asia, you have the same, let's say, fragmentation. On one side, publishers internationally based who tend to publish literature in English. And it is happening also in countries where English is not the national language. I could mention Malaysia. And in my opinion, this is leading a little bit toward the conflict. Many festivals are English oriented, and many festivals are local languages oriented, and the risk is that the two worlds could not meet. In Malaysia, this barrier was broken by a couple of independent publishers publishing in Malay for the young generations genre fiction, I mean crime, love, science fiction, vampires, zombies, and so on, and having a great success. Buku Fiksi from Malaysia was declared last year the most innovative publishing house in the world at London Book Fair. Another different world is China. China is a country where writing is not free. You have a censorship. So you have many. You have some big groups who publish an enormous quantity of writers. Of course, this is a country of 1,300,000,000 people sharing the same language, Mandarin, and writing in the same language. But the issue over there is censorship, and this is a kind of censorship that is, I should say, interiorized by writers. I mean, writers used to self-censor themselves, and that is why, from such a big superpower, is not coming what we expect. We all, Italian publisher, are waiting for a great literature coming from that country. And, well, Moyen got the Nobel Prize, but there are, you can count on your fingers the 2, 3, 4 very interesting writers. And over there, the publishing industry has these big problems. The editors used to interact with the writers, asking them before the publication, please be careful. Please be careful on what you do. Indonesia is a completely different world. Indonesia is an Asian country where everybody speaks Indonesian, Bahasa Indonesia, Even if you go and look for the Facebook and Twitter profiles of writers, you will never find one single word in English. They do not speak English frequently, and I have been able to invent, to create a contemporary literature very important.
So that's really interesting how it varies from country to country. And again, we've come back to the subject of authors and publishers always. It's a very interesting love-hate relationship. And I would like to ask Afzal Sahab about his experiences now. My experience is that, there's so many anecdotes. You have elderly authors saying, please publish my book before I die. And then you live with these guilt feelings, oh God, I hope he survives. And some authors want their books to be really, you please use the best paper, prices of no consideration, and some authors want their books to be published in paperback and to, be accessible to more people. So any interesting anecdotes or any, or any experience with?
Yeah, you are very true that I have received many requests say that I'll die very soon. Please publish my book. And I haven't seen anybody dying yet. And it's a kind of Pakistani publishing is not at very I would say advanced publishing industry, so we have to take care of. But you are right that some writers think that their book should be very cheap. I say, why you worry? The worry should be with the publisher, that if their book don't sell, then the publisher will be at loss. But they say, some says that, okay, our book should show whatever price you like, you can print that. But it's very interesting, and by seeing the word picture of the publishing, I say in Pakistan we are far behind what actually publishing is. Pakistani readers, they don't, know Pakistani writers, but they know foreign writers more than the local writers. There are many writers sitting in the audience which I read very lovingly, but I always think that why are we so behind in the promoting them outside Pakistan? Like, and they said that now the West is looking to the subcontinent, why these people are also, on the same stage. If you go anywhere in the world, they are living the life like us. They are thinking like us. But they write differently. We in Pakistan, we live the same, but whoever living in States or in China or in Japan, wherever, it's a highly developed style of living. But in writing, we can't find the way to, portray our writers better in much better way to the Western world. But there are numerous Pakistani writers should be recognized all over the world. Should be, their writings should be printed all over the world, should be available to the international readers. And I think I'm thinking about these, shortcomings in our publishing world, that as a publisher, we should do more and more to promote our writers, promote our writings.
Absolutely.
And to give a good picture of what we are thinking here in Pakistan.
Absolutely. Amina, you wanted to talk about the economics of publishing in Pakistan, so I would like you to speak on that, the difficulties, and also your experience and what it brings to you as a publisher I know you attend all the big book fairs, the Frankfurt Book Fair, the Delhi Book Fair, as well as literature festivals all around the world. What has that brought to your experience of publishing? How is that,
Thank you, Huri. Actually, right now I think we spoke about authors who wanted their books published quickly. one of our authors told me that please hurry up with my book because I'm sitting in the departure lounge. So that was, and another issue I find is that when we go to authors, they tell us, I mean literally, they expect that I should go and collect their manuscript, and on the way back to my office, I should drop it off at a printer's. And then they'll get it in a month. And it is very common that, they regard a publisher as a printer. Yeah. They just cannot accept or believe that, you'll take almost a year to publish a book. Just a review process takes 3 months to find out whether it is publishable or it has potential. And of course, as you say that, there's as Afzal Saab said, they want to have a say in the price, in the binding, in the paper, in the font design, and so it is a challenge. But I feel that this is, I hope that we are getting people used to the idea of the role of publishers. I mean, one of our authors told me, he gave me a copy of his book, and I found that there was a lot of repetition, a lot of material that I found superfluous. And when I looked at the book, I felt that there's a thin book that is struggling to get out of this fat manuscript. But the author told me, you cannot change a word in my book. I said, then what's the point? You might as well publish it yourself. He said, no, I've written a very good book, you can't change a word. So actually, we ended up returning it. So I think the idea of publishing is still not clear. There's a lot of vanity publishing. One reason is that there's a lot of vanity publishing. People publish their own books. And obviously they don't have the structure of marketing, sales, distribution. So they can't sell their books. Or they leave them with booksellers, and booksellers sometimes don't pay them, because you see, with us, when we supply a bookseller, they have to pay us, because if they don't pay us for book A, then we won't supply them book B, or so on. So, but for an individual who writes one book a year, if they go and supply it, it's difficult for them to get payment. So what they do is that they give away copies to their family and friends. So actually, when we publish books, a lot of people expect that they should get free copies. It's a kind of an entitlement, they feel, that books should be free. Or at least they should be so cheap that they shouldn't think twice about buying it. So I think these are all established, it's a kind of a mindset that we are trying very hard to change. And I think we are succeeding. Gradually we are chipping away at it, and it is changing. What was your other question?
I wanted to know how the experience of attending book fairs and festivals has...
Well, I think it's really because of all that I decided to have the Karachi Literature Festival. I mean, what really struck me when I attend these festivals and book fairs is the tremendous status of writers. They are treated with so much respect, they are held in awe. And when I attended the Jaipur Literature Festival, I was so envious, because I've been very conscious of the fact that our authors, and they are second to none, really. I mean, look at people like Intizar Saab. We have a whole a long list of them. And I just felt they're not getting the acknowledgement and the recognition they deserve. We didn't have any credible awards for books. Thank God we have 4 or 5 now, and every year they're growing. But this is actually what I learned when I went to these book fairs, the status of authors, and of course, the status of publishers. Publishers are taken very seriously by authors. They can't, they don't dictate to them about when the book should be published or what it should look like, or, that they can't make any changes. And so I think, I feel that I really try to, when I attend these festivals and fairs, I try to pick up the best practices.
There's a lot of advice on that. 2 small questions. One is it, they always say write a book proposal before you actually send the manuscript. So is that a standard procedure, or can you send the manuscript? This is the first.
Not for us, actually. We don't accept proposals unless it is sent by an author who has already been published by us. We would ask for the full manuscript.
Okay, and the second question is that the advice was that never send a manuscript by email, always send it a hard copy. Is there any wisdom in that?
No, you can send it by email. In fact, we prefer it in soft form.
Okay, thank you.
I don't.
The gentleman.
Very.
अस्सलामुअलैकुम मेरा नाम डॉक्टर आयशा जाहिदी है और मुझे आपसे ये आप दोनों से संग मील पब्लिकेशंस और ऑक्सफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी प्रेस की मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर से क्वेश्चन है कि अगर कोई नया शख्स लाइक मेरी तरह कोई अपनी बुक पब्लिश कराना चाहता है तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल जो कि जिसने कभी इससे पहले बुक पब्लिश ना की हो उनके पास डिफरेंट पब्लिशिंग एजेंसीज़ को आइडेंटिफाई करने का क्या क्राइटेरिया होना चाहिए और सेकंड क्वेश्चन ये था कि जब आपके पास कोई बुक रिव्यू के लिए आती है आप लोगों के पास तो आपके पास क्या क्राइटेरिया होता है इस बात को सेटल करने का कि दैट बुक शुड पास फॉर पब्लिकेशन और नॉट
जी
थैंक यू
जब भी नए राइटर हमारे पास आते हैं तो मैनस्क्रिप्ट उनका पहले रिव्यू होता है. पहले तो ये देखते हैं कि अपनी फील्ड से लिखा है या रात को ख्वाब आया और सुबह उठ के किताब लिख दी. यू शुड हैव अ बेटर नॉलेज ऑफ द आइडिया और आप उसको प्रॉपरली किसी भी पब्लिशर को भेजें तो पूरा उसका आप एक आइडिया को जो डिस्कस करके उसे लिख के उसे ईमेल करें कि ये मैंने सोचा था, इस पे मैंने लिखा है, दीज आर द पॉइंट्स और ये रीडर्स के लिए इसमें क्या बेनिफिट्स होंगे, क्या फ़ायदा होगा, क्या एडवांटेज होगा एंड व्हाट काइंड ऑफ रीडर्स यू थिंक दोज आर गोइंग टू रीड योर वर्क. ये जब आप पूरा अपना होमवर्क कोई भी नया राइटर कर ले then he can or she can go to any publisher. If पब्लिशर को जब आपने कन्विंस कर लिया, उसे पता है कि ये जो भी घर से आया है ही इज़ फुली प्रिपेयर्ड और शी हैज़ द नॉलेज ऑफ व्हाट शी हैज़ रिटन, तो देन द थिंग्स आर मच ईजियर. बट then second phase is then we send the books to our reviewers. So who gives us that okay this thing is okay up to the point or not. Then if we get back to the writer, but then nowadays writers are very fast. They say okay, give me answer in a day or two. They don't wait for months. Well, like Amina Sahaba said, the reviewers need at least 2 to 3 months to decide. But it's good for the now the market is it's very good and new. You see feelings in Pakistan that the publishers needs new and fresh writings, and the youngsters are, I think it's a good time, high time for them to write something, but they should fully prepared for what they are writing. They should have the clear idea about the writing, about the readers, about their thoughts, and this is what I can say.
थैंक यू सर. जस्ट वन कमेंट क्योंकि मैं साइंटिफिक पब्लिकेशंस करती रही हूँ इन साइंटिफिक जर्नल्स बीइंग अ डॉक्टर, क्योंकि मुझे इस पब्लिकेशन प्रोसेस का पता चला था और जैसे कि मैडम अमीना ने कहा है कि टेक्स अबाउट अ ईयर टाइम टू रिव्यू, तो मैं ये जानना चाहती थी कि साइंटिफिक लिटरेचर रिव्यू होता है, रिव्यूअर्स के पास जाता है एंड दे गिव देयर कमेंट्स एज वेल. इट्स अ वेरी गुड थिंग कि हमारा लिटरेचर, पोइट्री, हिस्ट्री, पॉलिटिकल साइंस या करंट अफेयर पे जो बुक्स प्रोड्यूस हो रही हैं वो भी रिव्यू होती हैं और बेशक ये कोई टाइम ले. मेरे ख़्याल में ये एक फ़ख्र की बात है कि हम इस माइंड सेट को डेवलप कर सकें, स्पेशली इन द न्यू राइटर्स लाइक मी. आई वुड ऑलवेज़ लाइक कि मेरी बुक अगर मैं आप लोगों को भेजूँ तो वो रिव्यू हो और उसका कुछ ना कुछ टाइम लगे और उसमें कुछ ना कुछ इनपुट मिले. लेकिन मैं एक बात कहना चाहती हूँ, बाय प्रोफेशन आई एम अ डॉक्टर, लेकिन आई सम टाइम राइट ऑन द करंट अफेयर्स एज वेल. तो आपके पास ये असेस करने का क्या क्राइटेरिया होता है कि फॉर एग्जांपल आई डोंट हैव एनी डिग्री बट आई राइट इन द न्यूज़पेपर्स लाइक एक्सप्रेस और जंग, तो आप कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करेंगे आई डू हैव द नॉलेज और नॉट, क्योंकि मेरे पास कोई डिग्री नहीं है टू राइट ऑन द करंट अफेयर्स और द हिस्ट्री. तो आई हैव अ रीडिंग बैकग्राउंड.
We have just
Thank
10
you.
minutes and there are many people with questions, so please keep it short, everyone.
मैंने ये कहा था कि एक साल में
Yes.
हम रिव्यू करके पब्लिश करते हैं, ये नहीं कि खाली रिव्यू.
And there's a gentleman at the back also who's been asking for the mic for a long time. वो बहुत देर से वो कह रहे हैं, please can you?
My name is Khaja Naeem Saeed and I'm a retired IT professional. I foresee a few challenges for the publishing industry in Pakistan. One of them, Amina touched upon, was the economic aspect. What I want to ask is that how are we dealing with the net publishing, especially with the Kindles and iPads and tablets and the smartphones. I go to any website and I can download 50, 100 books free of cost. And that, of course, for the Pakistani authors and the publishing houses will have an economic impact. Because how do you make money then? So that's my question. How are you dealing with this situation, with this challenge?
Actually, it's not affecting us, I find, because those books that you can download are books that are out of copyright. But, they are, and we are, as publishers, we can publish in any format. We can publish in the form of print books, or we can publish in the form of e-books. So that's, we can sell e-books. And we are actually in the process right now of converting some of our books into e-books and selling them through Amazon or through our website. And actually, I think they will be cheaper than physical books, because we don't have to invest in printing, in production, or in warehousing, or in freight or transport. So actually, the costs are lower. But the advantage with e-books is that you can even sell one e-book or two e-books. With physical books, it's not economical to print more than less than 1,000. So if there's a demand for 100 books, we can't print. So as I said, that we can supply e-books as well as print books in any format, because we develop content. We are the creators and developers of content rather than the publishers of print books.
But I get where you're coming from, because I recently discovered that a gentleman on Facebook had scanned some of my best-selling books and made PDFs and had just put it on, he was being a good Samaritan, but not to me. I mean,
Or to the author.
Or to the author.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Amit Baloch, and my question is with both Oxford as well as Mr. Sangamil. And I think with 1,000 apologies, it is because of you guys that the readership in Pakistan is now acutely declined. And now you are indulging in like 995 Bata rate of a small book of 200 pages, Oxford University Press, and then followed by 1,500, and then 2,000 plus. And as far as the standard of these books concerned, I sorry to say that they are rubbish. That's why nobody is indulging to. My question is, same thing is happening with Sange Meal, and because of the Sange Meal, I stopped buying the books, because I am a buyer and I am a reader, and you should respect me as compared with those people who are reviewing and you are getting the book for free. Thank you very much.
There's a lady over there who wants the mic. There's a lady back there.
Can I answer?
You want? Yes, please answer.
I think you're complaining about the high price of our books. Well, I want to say that, those prices are actually the current prices, because, we have to buy paper, we have to pay printers, we have to pay designers, illustrators, writers, we have to pay tax to the government, we have to rent premises. So all those, that goes into, and of course we have to pay proofreaders, index makers, printers, binders, shippers. So all that goes into the cost of a book. Now, if you want us to reduce the price, and publish at a loss, obviously we can't, because we can't sustain publishing. However, I do understand, I can sympathize with you that books are expensive. What is not expensive these days? But the problem is that we don't have public libraries in Pakistan. We should not have to buy every book we read. There should be a network of libraries so that people can borrow books. And secondly, also we need to change our own thinking. As I said in the earlier session, that if you go to a restaurant, you find to a 5-star restaurant where it costs 2,000 rupees to have a meal, and you won't find parking place. But when you have to spend 1,000 rupees on a book, people throw up their hands. Next.
Please ask your question.
My name is Nazli Rafat Jamal.
Let's not make this a discussion. Let's not make this a discussion. Okay. Please ask your question.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say that I sent my manuscript to Oxford first. And just like Amina said, they told me to shorten it. And no matter how I tried, I was unable to do that. And then the second time they said no to the book. And then I called Sange Meal And I asked that, I would like to submit my manuscript. And they told me they had enough manuscripts or books for 3 to 4 years. So they said, come after 3 to 4 years. And so they didn't even give me a chance. And I really went from pillar to post. And I do believe that, I agree with what was being discussed, that the process should be made simpler for new authors.
Can I answer?
So,
It's,
yes.
it's very simple nowadays. You simply straight away email the manuscript to any publisher. You don't have to ask Sange Meal that if I can submit my manuscript. You simply email us your manuscript, and then you can say that I couldn't find a chance to get it published from Sange Meal or either from any other publisher. It's not time to telephone any person that, okay, can I send my manuscript? I am telling you it's very simple. Just email the manuscript to any publisher or to Sange Meal and then wait for the answer. But if the manuscript is up to the standard or very good and publisher think that it's going to hit the market or it need to be printed as earliest as possible, then you should be getting the yes answer. Otherwise, you should try with another publisher or with another manuscript.
Actually, sorry, can I interrupt?
Okay.
Actually, again, it has to do with the economics of publishing. Publishing houses have a limited budget, and
But not
that's
for
why
Amina
that's
Saba,
why
sorry.
that's why we say that we have enough for 3-4 years, because it also depends on the kind of funds we have to publish. So we have a certain amount of books that we can do in a year. So sometimes we have to say that. So that we don't,
Sorry. We can publish in a month also. We publish some books in a week time. It depends on the demand in the market or the value of the book, or if it's a special publication. So publishing is nowadays very easy. But as a local publisher, we face a lot of problems. But if you go to a big publishing house, a multinational publishing house, then you need to, make your way. But with Sange Meal, you can also make your way. Where there's a will, there's a way. That's the answer I can say.
Is it possible to send whatever you have written to number of publishing houses?
Yes.
Without them minding why did you send to them and us at the same time?
Sorry?
Yes, of
Suppose I write
course.
something, I'll send it to Oxford as well as you and say another 10 publishers. And wait for the answers. Whoever comes first and
Of course.
is it possible?
Of course.
There's no issue with why did you send to them as well?
No, of course not.
One more question. I went to Oxford Press once asking whether I could publish. I have a factory near their press as well. I'm an ex-banker, came to Pakistan a few years ago and started to write in English, a lot of articles. And then I wanted to publish it, and Oxford people on the front said, no, we don't publish collections. Then I moved to speaking in Urdu and start economic shows at Vibe TV, and now I do two shows at Business Plus every day and bring out something. Besides that, I write at 6-8 tutors every day. My father was an author
Is
of
there
3
a-
books.
I'm sorry,
I don't
our
know
time
what
is
to do.
finishing, so
Should I
question?
leave everything, Twitter and talking in Urdu, and concentrate my work time on writing 2-3 books? I don't know.
Who would like to answer?
My father's time, there was nothing like that.
Thank you. Thank you. I think our time is up. And, it's an, I don't know. I haven't followed. I think it's a question that he has to answer himself. I think it's a very personal, it's a subjective. He has to answer it himself. How, Sorry? Sorry?
Nice to be here.
Thank you. Zubeda Appa, please.
Zubeda. Yeah,
Mike, please. There's Zubeda Appa.
Just now you mentioned that the books which people download, that they are all out of the copyright.
Microphone.
In her hand, please.
Amina mentioned that the books which people download free of cost, that they are out of copyright thing. Well, I don't agree with you there because my book has been, I've seen it from so many sources, and I'm still not very clear what EPUB is because they seem to give all the current books. So that is one thing which maybe you could tell me what it is. But the other thing which I wanted to know, that like Huri mentioned your books being plagiarized. This is plagiarism actually.
Yes.
So have you ever thought of this, that if the PTA over there could block YouTube for, 2 years or something, that couldn't a mechanism be developed for blocking such illegal sort of posts or downloading and all that? I'm not very clear because I'm not an authority on the internet and all, but maybe you all could consider that.
Absolutely. Actually, just as there's a rampant piracy of print books, there is piracy on the internet, on the net as well. And I think clearly your book has been pirated. And, we have made a rule now that we don't, we don't share the PDF, the software version of the sort of camera-ready copy, not even with our authors. We just don't share them. But now, for this reason that, somehow they managed to go viral. But I think that we need to, a lot of, you can use encryption and there are various ways to block this kind of illegal hacking. But somehow I find some experts just find a way to download books that are protected by copyright. So it's a form of internet copyright, of piracy, that we have to look for solutions.
Thank you so much, all my panelists. Thank you to the audience.
Thank you. Thank you to our moderator.